What's going on, guys? John Santos, and in today's special video, we're going to be diving into how to start a clothing brand using print on demand. But we're not just going to stop there. We're also going to dive into how you can scale it, because with me today in this video are some very special guests, and the people that we're going to talk to are responsible for billions of dollars worth of sales globally using print on demand, so they know a thing or two about how you're going to start it and grow it. These guys travel from all over the world to the east side of Las Vegas, if you can believe it or not, in order to share some information of what they've used to scale companies to billions of dollars in sales, all online using print on demand. Now, I personally took a lot of value from this information, and I wanted to make sure to deliver it to you in a way that you were able to follow along. Sometimes some of these high-level information may go right over your head, so it always helps to reference it again. Before we get started, I think it's important for us to discover what print on demand is. You as a clothing brand owner, entrepreneur, are essentially creating designs. Once a customer buys from your store, regardless of where you're selling that product, Printful will actually print that product and they'll actually ship it directly to your customer. So you're not out of pocket until you sell something and you're able to keep the difference. So let's say a shirt costs you $11 to make and you're selling it for $25. Well, 25 minus 11 leaves you with $14 that's yours every time a product is sold. Now, one of the big misconceptions and reasons that people aren't scaling on print on demand is the fact that the margins between what it costs to make and what you're selling it for may not be big enough for you to scale, meaning you may not have enough margin to advertise or remarket or bundle or do anything that allows you to really grow. In order to be successful at print on demand, you have to create designs for a niche audience. You really need to hone in on an audience that's gonna wanna love to buy your products. You gotta be super specific in that. You also need to identify where the target market is currently hanging out online, because if you don't know where that market is, you're gonna be spending a lot of money trying to reach them. You need to select the products that they would like to buy at the prices that they're willing to pay. And more importantly, you need to market to them by creating content or running ads that relate to them. Because print on demand only works when you as a designer and entrepreneur can focus on the marketing. And our first guest in the studio is Raitis, who's the head of marketing at Printful. What's really cool is that this guy started when the company was less than 10 people on the marketing team. Today, he oversees a group of over 50 people on just his marketing team alone. From creating the right messaging to SEO, website conversion, and global marketing trade secrets and things that they're doing to attract new e-commerce brands. This guy is a wealth of knowledge. So listen in on what it'll take for you to be successful in this space.
In reality, you have to actually, if it's even a side hustle, you have to be willing to invest, all your weekends for the next couple of months to actually get things right. There's a lot of things you have to get right. Like first, you have to understand how e-commerce works at all. Like, do you need Shopify? Do you need Wix? You want to sell on Etsy, or you want to do something else? Then it comes with a decision, okay, what will be the designs? Who will design those things? Maybe I have to find freelancer or a friend. Then the next thing, okay, which will the products? Will I go with shoes, shirts, pillows? And then comes the hardest part. Have to get someone to your website who wants to buy these shoes with these designs for the price you have, like your retail price. Right. And that's the hardest part. And as a marketing team, very often we teach others how to do marketing. And to actually get those things right, it's not easy. So first of all, if you want to be successful, you have to start with a niche, like to who you'll be selling. Maybe there's other marketers and then they have their own memes or stuff like that. Have to really understand the audience so you actually can build a product which they will want to basically buy and then basically give your money. So they're always voting with the money. So it's the challenge part. So for some it will take a couple of weeks or weekends. For some it will take a couple of months to actually get that right. And even when you maybe you're a great artist, but then you have to get someone on the website who's willing to buy that art from you.
So let's say the store owners that start to get traffic, maybe they're getting a couple hundred visits a day or 1,000 visits a day, right? What are some, from the successful stores you guys have seen, what are some conversion rates that people kind of have in this industry that you'd say, if you're at this, it's not good, but if you're at this, it's pretty good, and this is incredible? What's some of the metrics that you guys have seen successful stores have?
So I will talk about two things. First of all, if someone stumbles upon a random website, like everyone can start a business, you have to really make them believe that this is a legit business. So basically, you have to make sure that like they are willing to basically risking to spend money here, and actually they will be getting product, because it's not buying on Amazon. Why people like on Amazon? Because they know that they'll get an item pretty quickly.
So building trust.
So building trust is really, really important. And how can you build trust? Like put a picture on yourself, like build a really great about us page, like tell why you're doing this, like why anyone should order from you, like who you are, and maybe there's some social cost to that as well. So put great pictures, like use the videos, like explain what the product is, like make sure that the website is trustable, so it's not someone who's going to steal the money. So spend a lot of time on that. And the second thing, like I would say, copy Amazon in some way with a proud. Like Amazon has one of the best product pages there. It has a lot of images, it has a lot of photos, it has a lot of pictures, it has reviews. It shows how much you're going to pay, there's size guide, when you're going to deliver, like when you're actually going to receive the item. And those are the factors you can be inspired really easy. So you don't have to look for some kind of, like somewhere really far away. Look what Amazon does. We know that's one of the that's the best e-commerce site out there, and copy that in some way. Or like another way, like if you're selling on Etsy, look what other Etsy sellers are doing and basically be inspired from that. Don't copy designs, but copy what they show to their customers and actually trying to convince that, yes, buy from me.
Now look, when it comes to starting an e-commerce business, doing it with print on demand allows you to prove if your idea is something that's worth pursuing, as you have little to no out-of-pocket costs and expenses, and you actually have a vast library of products that you could choose from. Because oftentimes, guys, we hear from brand owners who have ideas, they have some sketches, but they don't have a full understanding of what they're willing to buy. And sometimes they spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to buy products in bulk before they actually make that first sale, which puts them at risk for going broke if it doesn't sell. Now, I don't want this to be you, so I want you to hear from Rick, who is the founder and CEO of SnowCommerce, which is an e-commerce solution business that works with companies such as Warner Brothers, ABC, Paramount, and many others to launch branded merchandise globally using print on demand. He'll be sharing merchandising strategies that print on demand businesses need to consider in order to scale, including the main problem that new brand owners face. How do you grow a brand using print on demand?
What we experienced was that with a series of suppliers and your drop shipping, especially on-demand merchandise, that you would have 3 items in the cart, right? And then you'd have a shipping cost from each one of them, and you couldn't really charge that to the customer, right? And so it was really eroding your product margin. So what we try to do is a lot of work to say we want a breadth of product. We may need some additional suppliers, but how do we put a core of the most important ones through Printful and choose one supplier that made a lot of sense? And then when we do offer some of the other products, we don't try to cross-sell 2 different types of vendors together in a cart. So with merchandise strategies, you can kind of make sure that every order is profitable, and that it kind of meets the kind of customer's experience. So it's like, what's a reasonable shipping charge, So the profit per order was really important to kind of figure out. Sometimes a lot of people think that you have to put a lot of items into an order in order to drive the average order value up high. But sometimes it's just as good to sell a single item where you know that it's going to be profitable per single item.
Let's face it, one of the main problems you're going to face with print on demand is profit margins. And one of the strategies that Rick just shared includes creating bundles that a single supplier can fulfill. When it comes to fulfilling orders, there are real labor and operational overhead costs. So the more you can put through one facility, the less you will incur as a brand owner, which is passed on to your customer in the form of lower shipping rates and costs. Now, I want you to see what this means. So let's head on over to Printful's North Carolina facility, where they manufacture a huge bulk of their orders, from printing t-shirts, mugs, canvases, posters, hats, and much more. By seeing how this operation looks, you guys can start to grasp the importance of having the proper supply chain in your business. Now look, there's a lot to learn here, so let's speak with Eric, who is Printful's Director of Operation for the US and Canada.
So welcome to Printful, Charlotte's Westlake facility.
Okay.
This particular building is our largest facility here in the United States. It's just shy of 100,000 square feet.
Wow.
We run 2 shifts here. I have about 150 associates or so. We stock over 4,400 different SKUs in this building. So we stock everything that the company sells
Right here.
in this particular building.
Okay. And you got all the stations marked POD1, POD2, 4, 5, like the The
Yeah.
pod.
Yep, pod, print on demand.
Yep.
This operator will scan a barcode on a shirt, and then she will compare what's on the screen to what's actually in her hand. So she'll verify the brand, the color, and the size. The machine tells you what print it is, and her machine is set up for that particular print. So if it's a front print, then she will place it on there for it to be printed on the front. Once the printing is complete, she pulls it off and sets it on the dryer. And then our QC here, quality control, will inspect the print that has been cured, and then they will either fold it for it to be sorted for either single or multis, or they'll put it to the side here for a secondary print. That's a maintenance cage area over there.
You got places to.
I'm sorry?
I said you got. This is where the dustpan goes.
Yeah, so these are called shadow boards. So you know where everything goes. This dustpan we don't actually use.
Is this a different model that got outdated, or?
Well, we don't want people like bending over, right? But for the most part, it just helps us keep organized.
Cool.
Like you know where to go if you need a broom, and if
I'll
a
do this
broom
for
is
my
leaning
camera.
against a pillar, it's out of place, right? So everything has its place.
Definitely. Now look, I've been to a lot of print-on-demand facilities all over the world. And what struck me about this location in general is how strategic and efficient they were. They're on a whole nother level, and if there were such things as the Olympics for print-on-demand, they'd definitely be taking gold. So I have a lot of respect for how they manage their team members to produce quality garments quickly, because they literally pay attention to the little details, such as the humidifiers on the roof to control the climate in order to have better prints, and even where they leave their cleaning supplies. To some people, this may look like overkill, but in order to get operations right, you need to pay attention to these details. How do you ensure it's gonna be profitable? Remember, profit is what remains after your costs and spending are subtracted from your total revenue as a company. Now, in this next part, Rick is gonna share how his team approaches every single partnership that he makes with e-commerce brands to ensure that the brand as well as his business are profitable and can grow globally. And remember, this is all being done with print on demand, so you definitely wanna listen. So when it comes to e-commerce, obviously you've been doing it for over a decade. Would you say you should be shooting for 3 times margins, 2 times margins of what your product cost is? Like what have you found is a good mix?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's also a function of your marketing plan, right? Like one of the benefits of working with a brand is that they already come with a fandom. And so we played with all sorts of experiences of working with brands that thought they were a brand and they didn't have a fandom yet, so they didn't really have an audience. And so therefore there was no natural search terms to leverage and so forth. And then you started spending a lot of money in trying to like create the brand awareness. And then your budgets for marketing would be into 20-25% of sale, right? But if you get the right brands, we were pretty careful about what brands we would work with. And we would do a bunch of search research to see like what is the search volume that's already out there, how big is the fandom that we can activate, how well can they activate it in their social channels or however they're doing it, and how do we get it down to like more like a 5% of the order, right? And then that helps you manage your margins a lot better. So I'd say like the biggest formula that you got to figure out is how much of a royalty you're going to give to the brand, how much marketing can they bring, right? What does your marketing budget need to be? And then you obviously have your operational costs, and then you have your cost of goods, right? And so can you get the formula down so that you're into a 50% margin? Then you're probably gonna, when you want to do a retail pricing kind of perspective to it to make sure that you're hitting the market right for the brand.
Keystone, right?
The Keystone, yeah, pricing. You also need to do the cost plus pricing analysis too, right? To make sure that you're profitable. And so for me, if you can hit 50%, usually you can get that equation to work well. 60% is even better if you can get enough loyalty and repeat purchasing so that you don't have to spend as much money on attracting the brands.
Got it. So I think one of the key things I just heard from you was you obviously you're working with brands, and if you're a brand owner watching and they're wondering how can I be profitable with print on demand? Well, it really starts with what you call fandom, right?
Yeah.
Which is an audience or of followers that are fans of your brand, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have a fandom and you have enough traffic organically, either through social media, through SEO, through something that's just continually getting this traffic, then you could be profitable. But if you don't have that fandom, you have to build it from scratch, and that's where it's hard. Now, Rick referred to a community as a fandom, and having a fandom is what kept his customer acquisition lower and allowed his print-on-demand businesses to thrive. Without a community of customers, you're gonna be overspending on attracting new customers with ads, which will cut into any profit margin that you may have with print-on-demand. So by having a community that's already searching for you, that's what's gonna allow you to be profitable. But how do you build a fandom and get organic traffic to build your brand in the long run with this approach? Let's hear from Raitis on an approach that brand owners should take, which include creating content that your community may be researching in ways that you can show up when they're ready to buy. Can you talk to us a little bit about the importance of SEO even in today's social media and like viral videos, or like even ChatGPT or any of these AIs? Like, how important is SEO and how can people do it right today?
So I would say it's extremely important. There's a couple of reasons why. Like, first of all, it's basically an awesome place to be. If someone is searching for something and you answer those questions, like it's already have intention, then naturally will be a better customer. They will be naturally becoming your customer. Someone searching for print on demand, do great to be on a result there. So, and they immediately want to use you, and that's basically that's number one reason. And second reason, it's cheaper. If you do things right, of course it costs some money because you have to create content, you have to understand how things work. And it's like if you compare now the Facebook ads cost everything, they're going up and up and up. While SEO is if you invest once, of course you have to be a little bit patient, it will not quickly generate result. But if you do right, it will be a machine who will continue to deliver new customers every day.
So is there like certain pillars or like a framework that you think about when it comes to SEO? And can you kind of share that perspective for somebody starting from scratch?
So it's a challenging question. Like and you have to probably keep in mind SEO when you're actually launching your own merch store business. Have to understand what's the competition there. Like, if there anyone even searching for the things I'm building there. So you have to think about that factor. So you have to do some keyword research. If anyone's searching for the items you actually want to build or make. And the second thing, you have to be unique. Google loves unique content. Like if you're filling a niche which there's no content there, so you can fill that. And if people are searching, you'll actually naturally get some customers. And so make content which people want, people are search, and that's basically your silver bullet, and you'll basically get traffic to your website.
What I heard from Raitis during our conversation is the importance of having an SEO strategy that will be a long-term play for your brand. Now, search engine optimization is a process of ranking your website for search terms that the customers are looking for. And by being at the top of those results, you have an opportunity to acquire customers at a lower cost. Now, this also applies to content that you make on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. Creating content around the products that you sell and then featuring them in those videos or blog posts, you have a higher chance at acquiring a new customer without paying a single dollar for advertising. And the beauty about this is that it's recurring. Now, this is something that's rarely talked about when it comes to print on demand. And most people, when they hear about this topic, they think it's a get-rich-quick scheme that doesn't work. But when you look at print on demand from a different lens and you start to create a strategy, there's numerous ways for you to build your overall business with it, which leads us into the operational side of things. And joining us in this part is Alex, who's the CEO of Printful, where he'll share how print on demand scales and remains profitable from the print production side of things. Now, these operational insights will come in clutch once your brand becomes successful, so make sure you listen in. So how does that work on the back end for somebody that's like, wait, how is this working? How is Printful providing all these products on demand all over the world?
Yeah, and look, I think one of the exciting things for our small merchants is that we're now operating on the same supply chain between Paramount and NBC and each one of those individual companies. And what's cool about that is it actually makes the supply chain stronger, because what tends to win in operations is scale. So the bigger we get, the more volume that we put through our network, the more we can expand, we can have more sites, we can get closer to customers, and it also gives us scale leverage on things like the price at which we buy blanks. and how efficiently we can run our buildings. And so we are always trying to find ways to take cost out and to drive efficiency and to get faster in our delivery. Because at the end of the day, operations is pretty simple. It's cost and quality and speed. Like, we're solving for those three things.
Now, Alex mentioned cost, quality, and speed is what operations is all about. And when it comes to selling, it's actually gonna be products, placement, and promotions. Throughout this video, we've talked about the importance of having the right products, placing them in front of the right audience, and making sure that your promotional activities are profitable. And another layer of this is to making sure that you're spreading it and placing it to as many platforms as you can in order to get those customers and communities that are your target audience. And the beauty about this is that Printful connects to various marketplaces from Amazon, Etsy, eBay, Big Cartel, and they recently added TikTok Shop. Now, Printful allows you to easily list products on TikTok Shop, which will enable you to sell directly on TikTok through videos, live streams, and collaborations with influencers. But regardless of the platform that you decide to sell on, what's important is to make sure that your products fit within those platforms. And by designing for a niche audience, you're ensuring that it's gonna resonate with somebody on that platform. And by using the tips and tricks that Rick, Raitis, and Alex shared, you're gonna be on your way to building a clothing empire for free. To get started with print on demand anyways. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button right down below. And if you've already started a business but you're looking to do cross sales, promotions, and be profitable with print on demand, take a look at this video where we dive into some details and download your free apparel game plan, which is gonna be located right here to help you navigate the apparel industry and continue helping you build from the ground up. We'll see you guys on the next video.